The New Testament hope. We have been in a journey looking at the scope of life and some of the biggest existential questions. We are focused on the biblical perspective and how we were created, where degradation and death came from, what is the prospectus, and what is God's plan. We went through the understanding that was growing in the Old Testament. We looked at what Jesus did and taught. We looked at his victory over death. And this week, the focus is on what is the New Testament understanding about the issue and what is the hope that the early Christians had. Paul is very clear that everything is centered and based on Christ's victory over death and his resurrection. Everything else may be beautiful and powerful, but if Jesus didn't resurrect, it loses meaning. The New Testament hope is grounded on the fact that Jesus overcame the insinuations of Satan, paid our debt, and he holds the keys of life. He promised to come back, clean up, and restore everything. He promised us the blessing of the experience of life with no limits and no pain. Even if we die, it's just a temporary rest where we just cease to exist until the glorious moment when he comes back and calls us back to life, as we often say, in the resurrection morning. Here is the thing though. Jesus said that he is coming back, but it has been a while since then. The first Christians expected it in their lifetime, and we are way later than that. There are many questions and attempts for explanations and theories that come out of that, along with the beliefs about natural immortal soul that are completely unbiblical. Some started to interpret certain texts from the New Testament as suggesting that there is a sudden rapture, for example, meaning that God takes his own in some ways and that his second coming is more individual rather than global event. Very widespread are understandings that when we die, we somehow go to God or to hell right away or through special journeys. But the New Testament hope is based on the promise of Jesus' return. According to the author, the Thessalonians were convinced that eternal life would be granted exclusively to those who would remain alive until the second coming. For them it was important not to die, and some misunderstandings are built out of that. But the promise is that even when we die, we are not in some disadvantage compared to those that will be alive at the event. This displaces the focus and distorts the message. The hope is in the final resurrection and this very special moment when we get reunited with loved ones, when we meet those we may only have heard of and we always wanted to talk to and hug. It's a moment worth to dream about. The key point from this lesson, though, for me, is buried in the middle of it. It's about Jesus trying to explain to those following him that eternal life is much more than the mechanics of it. It's about relationship with him. He is the breath of life. Those that come to him have eternal life. It's about faith. We can experience this blessing and this hope today. When we understand, when we believe, we can have this peace from God. We can have his presence in our lives, which transforms the current reality until the day he promised, and that is coming. What will I take away from this study, summarized in the length of one tweet? #LessonInOne. The New Testament hope is anchored in Jesus' victory over death, his resurrection, and his promise to come again. We wait for this incredible day, and we get a taste of eternity in a relationship with the breath of life. Join us next week to reflect on a study that is questioning contrary passages.